What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Silky Pixels. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. So today I will be showing you how I got these render stills, and I'm going to show how I did the render first and how I did the editing afterwards. So first you want to start off by pulling in your DAEs. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of these files correctly, so don't quote me on that, but however it is spelled DAE. So we're going to pull in all three of them. I'm starting off with my sim, my sim's husband, and their baby. I pull everybody in, I'm going to turn them around -90 degrees so they'll face the camera. And I'm going to do that. How I do that is I press the rig and then I press select hierarchy, and then it selects everything, and then I just turn it how I would like to turn it, or I'll type it in on the rotation Z and type in -90 or 90. But however, this scene was kind of backwards. I guess they must have built it with the intentions, of probably people taking pictures up against the doors or whatever, but I didn't want to do it like that. I wanted them to look like they was like just standing in the middle of like a walkway, doing all the family stuff. So now I'm fixing how they came in. So I'm going to click shader editor, and I'm going to click the mesh underneath the rig, and I'm going to change the blend mode to alpha hash, and then I'm going to connect the bottom color because there's two textures. I'm going to connect it to Specular. Then I'm going to add two different, what are they called? Shaders. Two different shaders. Yeah, two different shaders. And I'm going to add the mix shader in between the principal BDSF and the other thing, and then I'm going to add the transparent BDSF. And what I do is I just move it there, and it moves the other one to the bottom, and then I move the fact from the first shade, the first texture, and I move it over to the, is that alpha effect? You'll see how I did it. I was so conflicted making this video because I am bad with the words on how to explain this, but this is why I made the video full speed. I am going kind of fast because this is something I normally do. So I'm going to do it 3 times in this video, and then, if anyone has any questions, please don't be shy to hit me up in the comments. And I'm also going to leave a detailed description on how I do it as well, so that way you will be like, dang, like she said it in the video, but she was all over the place. So, okay. I'm just finding some poses. I downloaded some poses online, even though I have a folder full of them, because it's just a little confusing having them in there and not really knowing which one is which, because a lot of pose previews look alike and a lot of the names are similar. So I'm pulling in the pose one by one each. The one that says F, I'm making sure the rig says adult female because F stands for female, and I export it and just save it as it is into my download folder, because I don't keep these after I download them and use them in Blender. I completely just delete them. I'm just downloading the Blender version of the poses for the infant and the dad, and like I said before, I'm changing the rig with each one that I download. So now I'm changing it back to adult male, and I'm downloading the one that says M2, and I'm saving it. And when you download these with the rig, you want to make sure the rig is proper, because I did it and I made a mistake, and the kids looked like noodles. I don't know why when CMs glitch, they arms and stuff just stretch out. It looked weird, but yeah, you want to make sure you're using the correct rig when you export it. And it may take a little longer, but I promise it's worth it. Now it's time to pose them. So I'm going to click her rig and I'm going to go to the section next to it. I think I already did that off camera, but you press non-linear information. And when you go to their faces to pose them, you hold your mouse, your clicker over one of the dots on the face. You press I and then you press lock, rotation, and scale. I'm using an older version of Blender personally. I don't like 4.1 or anything after 3.1, 3.2. I don't like it because they don't have a pose library. I don't know why they took pose library out of it, but now it's just really difficult to pose your avatar because my avatars, you know, a lot of them are thicker or they're taller or they're shorter, and it just makes it really hard to pose them how they want without their hands and stuff glitching into their legs. And then when you go into pose mode and fix it on the newer version of Blenders, you can't save it. So even if you try to like just render it right then and there, it won't show up how you think it will. So yeah, I use the old version. I use old scenes. I'll even use old poses and old accessories if I have to. I do not like the new version of Blender. Somebody tell Blender to fix that. Yeah. So now I'm about to modify Marvin's pose. So I'm going to unlock the rig, delete the strips, and then I'm going to select his rig and put it in pose mode. And then I'm going to select his left forearm. I think that's all I really needed to modify was his left forearm. And I'm just going to make it so his hand is under the baby because right now his hand is glitching through the baby. I know a lot of creators don't like for you to modify their poses, but it was necessary. So whoever created these poses, if you see this, I'm sorry, but I just had to modify it, and I had to make him look a little happier. I feel like everybody else's smile was like big, but his was just kind of like a wince. I don't know. I didn't like it, but I just went in and modified his smile a little bit. I pulled up the left corners of his mouth and I pull his top lip up and his bottom lip down, just so it looked like he was like just cheesing, happy to be there. You know what I mean? I click the pose library and add the pose, and then it's gonna pop up as pose lib, and then I add action strip, add the pose lib, and then lock it. Boom, done. So now his pose is locked in, so I can do the render now. So I had a simmer friend who does really great pictures, and I asked her, what do you put your properties on when you're about to do your renders? And she showed me, and I'm like, okay, so these are the properties that I used when I did it. And if you want your pictures to look very realistic, always use ambient occlusion. To me, that gives it a really realistic look. Like ambient occlusion just like, what did I just say? Did I just say that right? See, I'm messing up. But yeah, it just makes stuff like when they touching each other just give off shadows better, because a lot of the time stuff is like, especially with Sims, it just looks like things are laying on top of things, like just the whole thing, it just looks kind of clay. So here I am just looking at how it will look without all the properties. I'm going to fix first, and then I'm going to go back, fix a lot of things, and basically I'm just going to click almost everything under the light. I'm just going to click almost everything, and that's really it. And then I'm going to render the image, and we'll see what the finished render looks like. So this is the finished render. This took 2 hours. So it took 2 hours. Just letting y'all know it takes a while. It takes a while. But now I'm setting up for the second pose. I'm gonna unlock Marvin's pose, delete that, and then I'm gonna go over under his rig and delete the one from the pose library as well, because it doesn't let you do 2 at a time. It'll mess something up. So yeah, I can see why it was a little glitchy, but yeah, I prefer this. But now I'm just pulling in the other poses, and these ones were much easier if I might add, because the numbers showed up. I don't know why the numbers didn't show up on the last one. I don't know if y'all noticed that when I was doing it, I accidentally clicked her pose and he was posed like her. I didn't cut anything, by the way. This is all full speed. This all happened at one time. But yeah, these ones are way easier to pose them in because they had the numbers visible on the end. For y'all who do that, I think, well, no, I think every pose creator should release blend files, just to be honest. Especially like if they family poses or couple poses, like, to be honest, any poses, but blend files should be released and they shouldn't have all those numbers behind it. But that's what happens when you put it in to Sim Studio and do it like that. My bad, I forgot to say the name of the app. It's Sim Studio. But yeah, I'm just posing them all together like this. This is like really quick because nothing really glitched or anything like that with this photo besides the baby's hand through the mom's hand. So yeah, this is how I did the second photo. This is the second photo before editing. Now let's move on to me editing the first one. So I pulled these into Photo Room, and Photo Room is great for chopping out people, like chopping people out of photos, but it does lower the quality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the one I got from Photo Room as a stencil to edit the bottom picture that has the best quality. So I'm going to make them both transparent, try to fix any spaces that are too big because Photo Room leaves a space, like they kind of chop out a bit too much. So I'm gonna just try to fix any spaces that seem too big away from the original photo, and then I'm gonna select the, I want to say the silhouette. I'm going to select the silhouette and then I'm going to edit the main picture with the silhouette selected. I'm using the gap recognition tool. I have it set to current layer and I'm on the top layer that I'm going to use as a stencil. So I'm just selecting all the areas around them, which is basically just 2 areas. And I'm going to select invert selection, and then I'm going to add in my layers, my soft light, my overlay, my add, I don't think I use foam layer, but I'm just going to add in my layers so I'm already prepared. So now I'm going in with a black layer of soft light, and I'm going to contour everybody's faces. I didn't like how dark it made Marvin's face. That's Marcian's husband's name. I don't know why. But I didn't like how it made his face. How dark it made his face. But I'm going to contour his nose and all that good stuff. And then I'm also going to contour my Sim's nose. And I'm not going to do too much on the baby because it's a baby. But yeah, I am going to contour his face. I didn't like how his lips came out either. Oh my god, this made me so mad. But yeah, I'm just going to edit him. And then I'm going to edit her. And then I'm going to edit the baby. But I'm not going to do too much. Like, this isn't going to be like a super thick IMVU full blend. Because with Sims and doing renders, you really don't need all of that. So now I'm going into the layer of add. I'm going to use the color white, and I'm going to give everybody's face a little bounce of light, and then I'm going to just highlight their cheeks and their noses just to bring out their faces a little more. I feel like this scene was a little dark, but this scene is still beautiful. I want to make sure people know that this scene is beautiful, but it was a little dark, and I didn't want to add exposure on the actual picture because I want it to look like they're outside at night. You know what I mean? So I'm just adding a little bit of add to the baby's cheeks and her nose. And then I'm going to do the same thing to mom and dad. And I'm just going to make sure that the light bounces off of their faces really pretty. And make sure you always have your brush on airbrush. I keep telling people airbrush is free. It comes with IbisPaint. That's literally the only brush I use when I'm modifying photos. Sometimes, like, I rarely will use like different brushes unless I'm making something else. But literally just airbrush and eraser on soft felt tip pen mode. That's it. Now I'm just adding another top layer of add to give their jewelry a little shine. I don't want to make it too shiny because I don't want it to look comical, but I do want it to look like, you know, they diamonds dancing just a little bit, you know, living vicariously through my sins. Also going back to the bottom layer, and I'm using the lasso tool to fix the glitch in his shirt that shows his skin. I didn't like that, so I just selected the area I wanted to fix, and then I pressed the special tool and I just dragged it over so that way you wouldn't be able to tell. And I'm not sure if I used the blend tool at the end. I don't think I did. I try not to use the blend tool when working with Sam's pictures because I want it to look natural, but I think I did use the smudge tool and just smudge the edges of the necklace just so it won't look weird. Now, still using the special tool, I deselected my selection using the top layer as a stencil. We no longer need the top layer. And I'm just moving everything over just to fix the little glitches and stuff from photo room chopping it out incorrectly. So this is just me going around fixing it with the special tool. And I always use, I think I use drag, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm just fixing all the parts of their outfits and, you know, them that didn't get touched. I also went in with a layer of overlay and I used the color white and I just highlighted her husband's face. I highlighted his face so because I didn't like how dark his face came out in the original photo. It kind of made me a little mad because he just, I don't know, he just looked like an unlocked GTA character. I don't know, I didn't like it, but I went in with a overlay layer and I fixed it how I liked it. This is the finished edit. It looks so good. So now we're moving on to the next one. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the last one. I'm going to use the top layer as a stencil, and I think I messed up a little bit on this one I don't know. I felt the way about this one because of her boobs. You'll see in a minute. Here I am just prepping my layers again like I did the last time. A layer of add, a layer of overlay, a layer of soft light, all that good stuff. So now I'm going into a layer of soft light with a black airbrush, and I'm just contouring again like I did before. And this one was much easier and much quicker because their faces were showing on the side, so I didn't have to do too much. So I'm just contouring everyone, you know, adding a little more definition to their faces, chins, bodies, outfits, stuff like that. Now I'm going in with a white layer of add, and I'm going to highlight the sides of their faces and you know, their outfits, you know, their clothes, their pants, their hats, all that good stuff. Now I'm going back in with the blend tool, fixing a harsh line I found in her neck. Ooh, I hated that so bad, but I'm fixing the harsh line, and then I'm going to go in with the special tool, and I'm just going to fix any glitches, anything sitting off to where I don't like it. Make sure you always go back and check your photos to make sure that they're to your liking, because sometimes you'll finish a photo and post it and be like, oh my god, like I messed that up. So just make sure you're taking your time as well. I, however, did not take my time. I rushed through this because I was in a parking lot when I did this. So yeah, just make sure you go back and fix any mistakes you feel like you made. You have time. You always have time. This is the part of the video where I was telling y'all it made me kind of mad because I was using the special tool and I was trying to fix the light on the boot and I ended up just giving up. I really did. I tried to blur it and then I tried to erase it and it just didn't come out how I wanted it to. The picture was beautiful though, so I'm not gonna complain too much, but yeah. This is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment. Tell me how you feel. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.